All right, today what we are going to do is Unit 6, Lesson 6a. I'm going to break this lesson up into 3 different parts. All right, so I did go ahead and post this to Google Classroom. Some of you still like to print this out, and that's fine. You can do that if you have a printer. If not, just follow along on your own sheet of paper. Okay, so the very first thing I want you to write on the top here is a reminder for the area of a triangle. Okay, that is going to be useful for your homework. We won't have any triangle examples today. Now, in the side margin, today we're going to focus all on solving area problems with quadratics. Okay, so I've got a few notes here that I'd like for you to copy down. I am using my Elmo this time, so it's going to look a little different than it has when I've had my smartboard to do these notes. So the first reminder here is the area of a rectangle. So that's a rectangle is length times width. All right. Step 1 is going to be to set up the equation. So let's go ahead and start with example number 1 here. Okay. Given this diagram below, find the value of x if the area of the rectangle is 78 square meters. So they tell me the area is 78. So what I need to do is set up the area. So the area here is 78. And that's going to equal the length, which is x, times the width, which is x plus 7 right here. All right, so now I have my equation set up. Now I'm going to need to set it equal to 0. So let me say simplify and set it equal to 0. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is distribute this x right here. So x times x is x squared. X times 7 is a positive 7x. And then I'm going to need to set it equal to 0. So let's subtract this 78 from both sides. So now it says 0 equals x squared plus 7x minus 78. Okay. My next step is to factor this. So in order to factor this, I need the 78, negative 78 to go on the top. I need the positive 7 to go on the bottom, and I'm going to do my x puzzle. So let's come up with two numbers that multiply to give me negative 78, but combine to give me 13. And so the answer that I come up with is 13 times negative 6. 13 and negative 6 will give me 7, and if I multiply them together, it gives me the negative 78. So I'm going to write my factors. X plus 13, x minus 6. Okay, these are my two factors now. And what we want to do is we only want to keep the positive solution. So I want to remind you that we're not quite finished here. I need to change both of these signs. So this would be a negative 13, and this would be a positive 6. Those would be the two final solutions after I use my zero product property. So the reason that I only want to keep the positive solution is because it is now a measure of distance around a rectangle. And just remember, distance cannot be negative. I can't have a negative width or a negative mile that I walk, okay? So the solution that I want to keep is the 6. Now I do want to make sure that I answer the question. They want me to find the value of x if the area is. So x equals 6. Okay, if they had asked me to find the width, I would need to do 6 plus 7 and plug that in here and simplify to get my 13. All right, so that is example number 1. We are going to do example number 3 next. We need to find the dimensions of this rectangle if the area is 128 square feet. So let's go ahead and plug in what we know. The area is 128. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my equation. 128 equals x plus 7 and x minus 1. Okay, then I'm going to multiply this out. If you want to use the box method, you can, or you can use the FOIL method. Remember, either one is okay. I'm going to use FOIL since I have so little space in this box. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. 7 times x is positive 7x. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. All right. And then what I want to do is I want to subtract this 128 from both sides so that it equals 0. So now it equals 0. And I'm going to subtract the 128 as well. Now let's simplify this. So I have 0 equals the x squared. Combine these to get a positive 6x. And then combine the 7 and the 128. They're both minus. So the answer will be minus 135. Okay. Now I'm ready to plug these into my x puzzle so that I can solve for x. So the negative 135 goes in the top, 6 goes in the bottom, and then let me switch to purple for my solution. So you can use a calculator to play around with this if you want to. I came up with 15 and negative 9. 15 minus 9 is 6, and it's positive. 15 times negative 9 will equal the 135. All right, now I'm going to set up my factors. X plus 15 and x minus 9. Now, in order to get my final solution, remember, I need x equals 9, x equals negative 15. And so I only want to keep the positive solution. So I'm going to use the x equals 9. And this question asked me to find the dimensions. Find the dimensions of this rectangle. So I need to plug that 9 into both places. So 9 plus 1 is 10. 9 plus 7 is 16. And those are the dimensions. 10 by 16. Okay, very good. Now let's do another one, except that we're going to need to really set it up. Okay, so shut it down and log in again, I guess. All right, so number 5. This says the length of a rectangular garden is 4 meters more than its width. Find the area, the area of the rectangle is 60 meters. Find the dimensions of the garden. So what we need to do first is we need to set up what our garden would look like. So it is a rectangular garden. So what I want you to do is just draw the picture. I'm going to do it over here. Okay. The length of the garden is 4 meters more than the width. So I have the width, and then the length will be W plus 4. And then the area is 60. So area equals 60. So now I have all the information I need to set up my problem. Okay. So area 60 equals, we need to multiply the length and the width together. Okay. Now we're ready to do step 2, which is to simplify it and set it equal to 0. So distribute the W. I have W squared plus 4W. And remember, I want to subtract that 60 from both sides so that it equals 0. Okay, now I'm going to do my factoring. Negative 60 goes in the top. Positive 4 goes in the bottom. Let's try 10 and 6, because I know 10 times 6 is 60. And then which one do I need to subtract to get to a positive 4? Subtract the 6. So my factors out to the side will be x plus 10 and x minus 6. And from there, I know that the two possible solutions are x equals negative 10 and x equals 6. Now, again, they wanted me to find the dimensions of the garden. So I'm going to say, well, I can only use the positive solution, okay? Keep the positive solution. So 6 plus 4 is 10, and then W equals 6. So my dimensions are 6 by 10. And that's my final answer. Okay, now I'm going to move on over to example number 7, okay? I did already kind of in advance sketch a little picture for us here for number 7. Okay, it says a square is altered so that one dimension is increased by 5. So let me start out by saying a square. They expect you to understand that a square here means that the length and the width are exactly the same value, because that's what it means to be a square. So I put x and x, okay? Now, this says so that the dimensions, one is increased by 5. So it doesn't matter which one. So this will be increase means plus, so plus 5. And the other dimension is decreased by 2. So decrease means subtraction. If the area of the resulting rectangle is 98, so let's include that as well, okay? We need to find the area of the original square. So we're going to use this altered rectangle to solve for x and then plug it in here, okay? So let's go ahead and get started on this. I am going to set up my area is 98, and that equals x minus 2 and x plus 5. I need to simplify this and set it equal to 0. So I'm going to do the distributive property here first. And then I'm going to subtract the 98 from both sides so that it's set equal to 0. All right, now let's combine like terms. So x squared, let's see, negative 2x plus 5x is a positive 3x. Negative 98 minus 10 will be negative 108. I am going to go ahead and set up my x puzzle over here. Negative 108 will go in the top, and a 3 will go in the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and play with our calculator a little bit. Go ahead and start dividing 108 by lots of different numbers and seeing which ones you can get closest to try to figure out what the factors are of 108. Okay, I come up with 12 times negative 9. 12 minus 9 is 3. 12 times negative 9 is negative 108. And so if you want to shortcut this, instead of writing the factors, remember this is going to equal positive 9. This is going to equal a negative 12. So I just want to keep the positive solution, which is 9. And then what I need to do again is plug it in up here. So 9 and 9. So what is the area of this original square? 9 by 9 is 81. So the area is 81. And I have solved this very big problem. Okay, we have one final example to do for today. Okay, we're going to save the consecutive integer problems for our next lesson. So for today, given the diagram to the left, if the area of the shaded region is 59 square inches, what are the dimensions of the outside rectangle? So we did one like this in class, but it did not have quadratics, okay? So what we are going to need to do is to use the outside square, find that area, and then find the area of the inside square and subtract that, okay? So remember, we're going to do the outside piece, subtract the inside piece right here. It's kind of like if I cut out a rectangle out of a sheet of a paper, okay? All right. So let's go ahead and set this up, okay? So I'm going to find the outside region first. That is going to be, and remember it's going to be big minus little. So big minus little. Okay? So the big rectangle is 2x minus 1 times x plus 6. And the little rectangle is x times x plus 3. Okay, so now I am ready to, I'm just going to keep working my way out to the left, okay? So let's move this direction. So if I use the distributive property here, my big one will equal 2x squared plus 12x minus 1x, so I'll have 11x, and then minus 6. Now let's simplify the little one. Negative x times x is negative x squared. negative 1x times 3.
Negative x times x is minus x squared.
Thank you.
X squared is
Alexa,
x squared.
stop. Okay, negative x times 3 is negative 3x. And now that they're all out in their factored form, or I mean in their expanded form, I'm going to go ahead and simplify. 2x squared minus 1x squared is just x squared. Let's see. 11 minus 3 is 8x. And then bring down the minus 6. Now what I am ready to do is to factor this. So I'm going to do it out to the side here. So negative 6 goes on top, 8 goes on bottom. And to factor this, let's see, I am thinking, oh, I forgot one thing. I'm not ready to factor this yet. I forgot to include that the area of the shaded region is 59 square inches. So this actually equals 59. So I need to subtract 59 from this as well. So negative 6 minus 59 will give me a negative 65. Okay, so I have fixed that now. Okay, so negative 65 and 8. So let's try, use a different color. Negative 5 times 13. Okay, so negative 5 and 13 is what I got when I solved my X puzzle. Okay, so we want to use just the positive value. So that would be this, X equals 5. So what I am going to come over here and do, I'm ready to put this into the picture. Okay, I'm going to do 5 plus 6 and get 11. And then I'm going to do 2 times 5, which is 10, and 10 minus 1, which is 9. So now to find the dimensions, I would need to do 9 times 11, and that gives me 99. So that's my final answer for question number 8. Okay, so this was,
I can't see the slides either,
as hard as it gets. Okay, I'm here if you need to ask questions or if you need any help. You can call me, email me, text me.
I can't see the slides at all.
Obviously, we are all working on school at the same time here, so
I can only see the
I will do my best. And there is a practice assignment posted to Google Classroom for you. So until next time.